on the computer. Okay. Here we go. Now we're recording the class. Oops. We're recording the class. So first of all, let me have a basic introduction of the syllabus. The videos will be uploaded here, and the Google Drive is here, and also here's the Zoom link. And again, this class will be a very fundamental level of the machine learning class. So basically, what we will introduce here, first of all, is the basic Python coding. I read everybody's application, and I realized many of you may be overqualified because I saw some of you are professional, like software engineer or computer engineers, and I believe your Python level are way higher than me. However, there are also registers may not be familiar with Python coding or even basic coding skills. And when we proposed this course, I was thinking to start from the very basic coding things. So in my plan, I will try to use today and also Thursday's class to introduce the basic Python coding. Trust me, it's really, really basic. Start from hello world from this. And then after it, we will mention the linear regression, model selection, classification things. And after it will be unsupervised learning. And if time permits, I will introduce some very basic concepts of neural network and also something like CNN, ANN, RNN, something like this. But again, this is a very basic level. So if you have already learned machine learning classes, maybe it's too easy for you, And also, we will have homework 50%, midterm 20%, final 30%. And again, this course is no ABCD. This course is just pass and fail. I hope finally everybody can get some very good things. And basically, we will use the class slides and notes. The book here for Tibashirani and Travis' book, Elements of Statistical Learning, is a very, very standard machine learning class. So if you have time and if you're interested, you can read it. But to be honest, for this class itself, it's too much. I believe class notes and the slides should be complete enough. Any questions here? No question? Okay. So let me see. So maybe we can directly start. Oh, my screen. Let me have a look here. So lecture one here. Oh, by the way, again, everything's here. You can open everything in the lecture notes. For me, because I've already saved all those things to my local drive. So let me just open it via the local drive. So oops. Let's close this one. Here we go. So first of all, we want to know what's the definition of learning, because here we're talking about machine learning, but we want to define from learning first. As we are human, we may start from ourselves and ask us what does it mean by learning. So learning in general is just nothing but to get the knowledge. Let me see whether I can. Oh, here. In general, learning is just to get a knowledge, or let's say by studying. But what does study further mean? So study as a human, we can say like to analyze information or to, let's say, digest into our knowledge system. Well, for study, basically two types of study. We study with a teacher or we study by ourselves. So with a teacher means we will be taught by a teacher to expedite the learning process with a given pattern. So for example, let me use a very simple example. Let me see, how can I, let's say when we're in elementary school, we will be taught how to write the numbers. For example, this one is 1, right? And also, how about this one? This looks also like 1, but if I write like this way, you will probably say it's a 7. Why? Because teacher told us, well, if this horizontal line is longer, then it's a 7. If it's shorter, then it's a 1. So you know what I mean? So this is somewhat to expedite the learning process. And so we were given the pattern. Say, teacher will tell you a fixed pattern. Say, this is 7, this is 1, this is 1. So this is the meaning of learning under a teacher or with a teacher. Another possibility, another case is to learn to self-study, which is to explore the information by myself. So information by myself means, let me see how to erase. Okay, information by myself. For example, if I write something, let's say I will say this are similar. This are a bit different. So learning information by myself means, oh, I can manually understand, say, okay, so this is one pattern, one group, and this is another group. So this is, explore or understand the knowledge or information by myself. The problem is you can clearly see that, in most cases, to have a self-study, it's gonna be slower. However, in some cases, a self-study could be better than, learning with a teacher. Why? Because due to the given information, let's say the so-called given pattern here, sometimes you may see that your knowledge, your discovery process may be limited in this given pattern. And we'll discuss something later in the unsupervised learning of this part. But basically, these are the things of, a very brief summary of the learning for human beings in general. Then parallelly, we can see what is machine learning. So basically still learning. The difference is that one is human, the other is machine. But so machine, it cannot, kind of directly like see this is a 1 or this is a 7 or something. Instead, the machine will read everything like here, will read everything like a data to analyze data. So actually, our visual system, we see something. These are actually all data. Later, we will use these vectors to, make everything to be data. We will see. So with a teacher learning, it's basically the machine will be given label and the last function. And this is called supervised learning. All these terms later we will introduce, in detail. And for the self-study, this one is corresponding to a pattern recognition, or we in a more general way, we call it unsupervised learning. So these are the things, I should say, a summary for the machine learning. There are actually many philosophies, I should say, of machine learning in different subjects. But basically, in this class, the machine learning ML we're talking is the statistical learning. Any questions here? Which is a very brief and a rough summary or description or definition of the machine learning. Let me see whether I can. Any questions here? No question? Okay, then we can go to some detailed steps here. Let me see. Please allow me to turn off the video here. I feel like okay, here we go. Thank you. That was kind of pretty annoying. Let's see some examples here. The very first example I would propose. Oops, sorry. I just write here we go. The very first example I would propose is called sensitivity or inappropriate contents detection. So for example, we nowadays everybody uses things like internet things to read articles, watch videos, emails, work, everything, right? And then we consider the words here. Let's say consider how many 4 words here: drop, make, crowd, bomb. Okay, then let me ask you, singly, if you just read every single word, are there any very sensitive things or inappropriate things? At most, I would say maybe bomb is a little, scary. The other 3 words, job, make, and crowd, they're pretty normal in our world, right? It's really nothing. Okay, but what if you read a sentence like this way? Let's say make a bomb and drop it to the crowd. What's gonna happen? It may be pretty scary. You may want to call 911 and say, hey, there's a terrorist, want to drop a bomb to the crowd or something like this, right? Then the thing is, well, how to automatically detect this kind of sensitive contents? That's the issue. Clearly, it's impossible to detect all these manually. Why? I don't know whether you've read or not, like recently ChatGPT. One basic foundation is that every day, it's just every day in the world, it will generate about 2 TB of the data. It's impossible for human, like, just everybody use your eyes to check it. It's impossible. It's gonna take you, I don't know how many years to manually check it. And hence we want to use machine learning methods to automatically detect these kind of sensitive or inappropriate contents. How to do it? There are actually many ways. Here as the very first example of this class, I would introduce a super simple but a very powerful method, which is by the Bayes formula. I assume most people remember with Bayes formula because in the course prerequisite, I did mention about. I did mention about. Let me go to the syllabus. I did mention about here the core require knowledge of college probability and linear algebra. So basically, let me open Word document. Okay, so basically, let me start with a very basic review of this just in case. Make it smaller, sorry about it. Okay, so here is a Bayes formula. So this is P probability of event A given event B. So first of all, still remember the probability of event A. So, okay, probability of event A is just a probability of event A. Let me start from the conditional probability. So this one is what? This one is probability of A given B, right? So for example, let's say A is raining, B is, let's say, cloudy. So the probability of the probability of the weather being raining, given that the weather is already cloudy, is usually higher than the probability of raining, given that the weather is sunny, right? So how to calculate it? If we want to calculate it, it's nothing but PAB. By the way, PAB, what I mean is this: PA intersection B over PB. So this is a probability, conditional probability calculation. So what's the Bayes formula? It's actually nothing. It's just a combination of the conditional probability formula plus the total theory of probability. So here it is what it is, PA intersection of B, right? PA intersection B, we can use the probability again, conditional probability again to write it out like this one. And let me write one more step. Okay, let me still put a PB here. And pay attention that here, PA is called the prior. I better start not from the PA, but from the left side. Let's say from the P, A given B, oops, sorry, given B, this is what? This is a posterior. Posterior probability. PA is a prior probability, which is our initial, like, an existing experience. And here PB is just a conditional probability, but sorry, PB given A is just a conditional probability, but this PB has a name, which is called support, or sometimes we also call it as evidence. Later we will introduce a method called the naive Bayes method. In the naive Bayes method, I will introduce more things here about the terms and the interpretation of naive Bayes. Somewhat I personally feel naive Bayes is not a mathematics, it's like a philosophy. I mean, it's basically like, well, you're in me and me, like myself is in you, and then how can we, calculate the current probability based on the history. So this is something about Bayes formula, and we will introduce it in detail here, in detail later in the class. But here, how can we use this naive Bayes to calculate this product? So basically what we are asking here, what we are asking here is if we see these four words simultaneously in the sentence, excuse me, here to make my life simple, I do not consider the order. I just consider, let's say, whether it appears or not. So here we can see make, bomb, drop, crowd. All of the four sentences, the four words appear. And then I'm asking you, hey, what is the probability that this is something, sensitive that we need to, get some, like FBI or some special department's attention. So basically I'm asking this. I can define, let's say, let me define like this way. Let's say B as the appearance of the word, let's say bomb. And then C as crowd. M to be make. And also the last one is what D to be job. Okay, so we have those things now. And then I define another event which is called sensitive. Why? Because finally I'm interested to see whether something's sensitive or not, right? Sensitive. Okay, so what I'm asking here is something kind of like sensitive given I see all of them. B, C, M, sorry. B, C, and D. So basically, I'm asking this, how to calculate it. Okay, we will need more data to get it. And I believe I will calculate these things first. What does that mean? This means, well, given that B, which is the word bomb, is observed, what is the probability that this sentence is sensitive? Okay, let's see here. Uh-oh. We will need more data, so we need more assumptions here so that we can really make a calculation. So let's suppose that we totally have 1 million paragraphs in my database. Trust me, in the real life, it's more than trillion, not million. But here, just make a baby example. Let's say 1 million. And let's suppose 10,000, which is 1% of them, are classified to be sensitive. And then suppose now we're interested in the word bomb, and then among these 10,000 sensitive paragraphs, 3,000, which is 30% of them include this word bomb. Whereas among the non-sensitive paragraphs, which is 0.2 of them, they sorry about it. Among the non-sensitive paragraphs, which is just how many that 1%, 99% of the 10 million of 1 million, and then among these only 1980, which is 0.2% include bomb. Then I want to calculate the probability bomb. How can I calculate it? So again, we will use something called the total probability theorem. And then now I can continue this part because just now, sorry. Because just now I didn't write the part here on purpose because I do need to introduce the probability theorem, the total probability theorem. So here it is, I still keep let me copy and paste. Actually I can directly write here. So the denominator PB, I can kind of like make it to be small cases given the probability. So suppose I have another event I, event E, total I have observe n possibilities. I can write it in this way, given EI times the probability of EI. So this should be the same as here, this part. Is nothing but the denominator here. So what does it mean? This means, well, in order to calculate the probability of event B, I will say, okay, under and here I use the notation K. Under K cases, case number one, if event one occurs. Number two, event two occurs. Number K, if event K occurs. Again, let's use example as the rain something. Let's say probability of rain. I will calculate the probability of rain. So I can make it to be this way. Let's say, let me make it examples like this. Let me here use another thing here. Probability of rain here because all the words. So let me just use this one. Rain equals to the probability of raining given, let's say, currently sunny. Let's say sunny yesterday. Y means yesterday. Times the probability of sunny yesterday. And then we can consider more cases. Let's say totally, let's say it's raining, and then let's say cloudy, rainy and cloudy. Yesterday times the probability of raining cloudy yesterday. And then you can just add different cases, However, so this indicates the events EI here. However, make sure two things. First of all, intersection of these EI, EJ events are empty. In other words, you cannot make two things, has some common parts, then it's wrong. Another thing is the union of all these E cases is a total set, which means it's one. So this is nothing but total probability theory. Then let's see, how can we use this one to calculate really this thing? By the probability total theory, we have the probability of bomb equal to probability of bomb given sensitive times sensitive. And then another category is non-sensitive. In other words, I discussed two cases for the appearance of this word bomb. Case number one, category number one is it is a sensitive word. Category number two, it is non-sensitive. So we've already know here that given it's sensitive, which is right here. Let me use another color. Let me see. Why doesn't work? Let me see here. Okay, now I can use let's say yellow color. We've already seen that in the database, 10,000 of them are classified to be sensitive, which is 30%. In other words, what? In other words, this one, sensitive, here 1% after knowing it. So this is 1%. Also, we know that among these 10,000 sensitive paragraphs, 30% includes bomb, and hence what? This one, bomb given sensitive is 30%. And similarly, I can calculate the other part, which is the bomb non-sensitive here. Non-sensitive is only 0.2, and here, hence probability bomb non-sensitive is 0.2, and the other part, probability of non-sensitive is 99%. And you can calculate this probability is about 0.5%. In other words, the probability of bomb is about 0.5%. Then let me see, how can I clear all of them? I cannot, there's no button. Clear. Okay, clear all joints. Nice. Okay. Now we have this, we already calculate this probability of bomb. Now how can we calculate probability sensitive given bomb? Simple. Use the Bayes formula as we just mentioned right here. So here we have sensitive given bomb equal to probability bomb given sensitive times probability sensitive. So isn't it exactly the same as here? Exactly the same here. So the difference is here A means sensitive, B means bomb. So it is PA given B equal to PB given A times PA over PB, where PB is the support. So we've already known that PB given A, P bomb, let's say given sensitive, is what is here? 30%. And then probability of sensitive is what? 1% of them are sensitive. And hence I have here that numerator is 0.3 and the 1%, which is 0.01. And also we just calculated here, probability bomb equal to 0.498%. And hence we get a probability, which is if you see a word bomb, the probability that the paragraph is sensitive is 0.602. In other words, you can see that, well, indeed, the word bomb is pretty kind of like dangerous, right? The chance that it's sensitive is 60%, almost a 60%. So this is the thing we can calculate. Now let's go back to our, oh, sorry, where it is. Go back to our original question, which is I want to calculate the probability that all of these appear. In other words, I see all of the four words: bomb, make, job, and crowd. How to calculate this probability? Again, there are actually several methods to calculate, but here I just, as it's in a very first example, I want to make it simple, and I'm lazy, and hence I will decide to calculate in this way. So first of all, we have already calculated that the probability of sensitive given bomb, which means the paragraph is sensitive, as long as I see a word bomb appears here, this probability is 0.602. And for notation convenience, I denote it to be P1. Similarly, let's suppose, I just repeat. Let's suppose I can repeat the calculation here, and I can calculate all other probabilities, which is, for example, here for make. Here, PS given n means the probability that I see a word make, the probability that this paragraph is sensitive is 0.8285, and then which is denoted to be P2, and also P3 is given that I see a word job, and for P4 is the probability that I see the word crowd. Suppose I have had all these numbers, then I'm going to use a super simple and lazy way to calculate the probability that if I see all these four words in the sentence, the probability that the sentence is sensitive. So here the paragraph, sorry, it should be the paragraph. I use the notation PS, means paragraph sensitive. It can be calculated in this way. Let me use another color. So why? Because basically for a sentence, for a paragraph, only two cases. Case number one, sensitive. Case number two, not sensitive, right? So when I calculate either it's sensitive or not sensitive, if it's sensitive, what's going to happen? That means all of this P1, P2, P3, P4 will occur, right? And hence, here's the numerator. For the denominator, two cases. This is the case that it's sensitive. And this case is not sensitive. Why? Because if the sentence is not sensitive, that means this will not occur. This will not occur. This will not occur. This will not occur. Do you see what I mean? So what's the probability that this event S given B is not occur? It's P1 bar, or let's say 1 minus P1. And also this one will not occur. 1 minus P2, 1 minus P3, 1 minus P4. And hence I calculate this data. In other words, my conclusion here is the probability that if I see in the paragraph all of these four words, bomb, make, job, crowd, appear, the chance that this paragraph is a very sensitive paragraph is 0.81, which is 85% about. And in the real application, we will have a predefined threshold alpha. Suppose the alpha is 80%. In other words, if I see the probability that a sentence is dangerous, or let's say a paragraph is sensitive, is more than 80%, then I will report to a higher level, let's say FBI or something. Then this one satisfies. In other words, yes, I will report this paragraph. I will mark it to be sensitive. Or if my threshold, let's say 90%, then it's below it. So I will just filter it out. So this is a very simple but really powerful method using the simple, or let's call it a naive Bayes method. And actually there's a Wikipedia here which shows you how to use the naive Bayes to filter the spam emails. And if you're interested, I don't know whether Google opens the API for your personal email. I'm not pretty sure, but if you're familiar with this API things, you can simply write a code like this and manually find, to detect those kind of paragraphs for your own email. Well, I hope the results are not too bad. So this is a thing. How can we use the naive Bayes for calculation? If you're interested, you can read this page. Any questions here regarding this very simple and very first, and in my personal view, interesting email detections or paragraph detection system? Any questions? No? Okay. Then let's have a look at the second example. So this is a very, very typical machine learning project many years ago. Actually, if 20 years ago you can make it good, you're going to be a million, even billionaire, because at that time this was considered an unsolvable problem. Now it's, trust me, it's even more powerful than most of our human eyes. So the fundamental idea of this one is I want to use the machine learning algorithms to automatically detect our handwriting. Here, of course, I just use a simple example as 0 to 9. You can, basically make it to be alphabetical, let's say A to Z, or whatever language. It doesn't have to be English. You can make it to be French, Russian, Chinese, Persian, whatever language you want. But the ideas are actually the same. So here we showed some samples of handwriting. By our human eyes, clearly the first column are 0, second column 1, and the last column is 9. It's very simple. But how can we teach a computer to recognize it? Suppose we have enough data. So here it is in this way. And by the way, we will run this example in a later lecture. I forgot which one. I believe KNN or whatever classification method. So basically, each sample is normalized to be a 20 by 20 8-bit grayscale image. So for example, here the 3, you can make it, you can count it, these small squares or small cells, it's 20 by 20. And then I can make it a vector. So vectorize, how to do it? Let's say the first column, then followed by the second column, third column. Since it's 20 by 20, so it's a vector of 400. And also for each cell, it has a number. The number is going to be grayscaled image. In other words, it's going to be, with a pixel ranging from 0 to 255. 255 because, it's 8 digits, so 2 to the power of 8, including 0, so we minus 1. So this is the thing. So basically what we're going to do is, first of all, we have the original image, and then we'll normalize the image to make it to 20 by 20, and then we'll get features. Here, for a very simple thing, the features I don't consider rotation or whatever things, or even no neural network, just super simple. I may vectorize it to be a 400 by 1 vector, and then I run models. Here model, we have many different models, and then finally the output is going to be a digit, which is 3. So in other words, my input is something written like this way, and my output going to be a 3. So this is a very classic machine learning project. And we'll run a very simple version of this, because if you really want to make it clear, for sure you're going to use the neural networks. I believe CNN is one of the easiest and the best way. But there are so many new news papers. And another example, also like the classification. So here our classification is that I wrote a number, and I will gonna ask you, hey, what is this number? The classification means it's gonna be one of them, 0 or 1 or 2, blah blah blah, or 9. So this is a classification. Here is an image classification, which is input an image, and then I'm gonna ask you, what is that? Is this a cat or a dog? So for example, clearly by our human eyes, we know this is a cat and this is a dog. But what if I ask you why? You may say there's no why, just because I've seen so many cats and I have seen so many dogs, and hence I know this is a cat, this is a dog, right? Okay, yes. But how did you really learn it? How did you really get it? Because again, your brain is somewhat doing the machine or maybe brain human learning, let's call it. So that's how you get the features and you learn the experience, and then your brain helps you do the classification. But here, what we're going to do is that we will we'll code the whole progress in computer. Here we use the Python to code everything. And then you will teach the machine to learn that here, this is a cat, this is a dog. And similarly, how about these two? By the way, these two cats are the two cats that I'm raising. So the left one is called Newton, and the right one is Maria, named under Isaac Newton and Maria Curie. Similarly, what if I provide you this picture? Can you recognize that there are both of them are cats? And actually, you need to understand, you need to recognize two things. First of all, there are two objects. For example, these things are shade, they are not counted, but it should accurately capture this is an object, my interested object, which is a cat. This is another object, this is a cat, which is also a cat. By comparison, if I input the whole, this picture as a whole, input, so it should also recognize there are two objects here. One is a cat on the left, and here is a dog. So here again, it's a classification problem. The class two classes, cat and dog. So these are the two examples. And so if we make the classification itself of machine learning, here we're talking about two things. First, supervised learning, which means learning with a teacher. Basically, during the learning progress, I will give you a label. Say, for example, for a training data, I will tell you, hey, this training data is a cat. This training data is a dog. Or or similarly here, I will tell you, let's say this is a 0, all these inputs are 1, all these inputs are 2, and all these inputs are 9. And then these are the training data. Basically, I gave you a label. What is the label? 0, 1, 2, 9. So that you know it. Oh, okay. I know exactly which class this should be. The target is that after running all the learning from all the training data, and then I will give you an unlabeled data. Let's say I write a number, I can write it very ugly. Let's say I write it this way. Question, is it a 7 or a 1? You need to tell me based on the learning data. So this is a supervised learning. As a supervised learning, basically during learning process, I will learn with a teacher or using machine language, I do have a label or have a response. Another category is called unsupervised learning. So the unsupervised learning basically is learning without a teacher. The given data only has the inputs. It doesn't have an observation or a label or a response. The target is to discover the patterns. So for example, I will just write in this way. I will write a number, something like this, and then I will write, for example, like this. Something like this. Sorry for my handwriting here. I don't tell you this is a 1. This is the same one category, which is called a 1. This is another category called a 3. This is another category called a 2. I'm not going to tell you. What I'm going to give you is just the input here. And then it's your responsibility to try to, find the patterns. Say, for example, k-means clustering, which is a method that we will discuss later in this class. So you will find this is one group, this is one group, this is one group. So this is the unsupervised learning. And there are actually some other things. Oh, sorry, clear my drawings. There are actually some other things. Another very, very popular method is reinforcement learning. So the reinforcement learning is to learn adaptively. Again, no label is needed. And we'll make a decision on each anyway, the time order. And each of such decisions will trigger a reward or punishment. And my target is to maximize the reward. And in many, many such cases, it will be involved, to an MDP, Markov decision process. And it is something like control theory. And usually you need to use the dynamic programming DP to calculate and then finally find the maximum reward. And it is, given very limited time, it's not going to be covered in this basic level course. And also, I bet most of you have heard the term deep learning, but deep learning things is actually a more advanced or a more complicated steps of all those things. Basically, it's a, let's say, more complex function decision procedure. And nowadays, to run some real products, basically, we can run the DRL, deep reinforcement learning. But all of these are not going to be covered in this class. Maybe some further classes in this program will cover it, but in this class, we will not. Any questions here about the classifications of the machine learning? No? Okay, and in this course, we will use Python. Basically, we will run the PyCharm IDE and also the Anaconda. Anaconda is something like, something I would call it a simple, convenient view, because we will directly use the Jupyter, and then hence we can directly have a web page instead of open the PyCharm IDE. So this is a thing. Okay, so any questions about lecture number 1, which is a very, very, very brief like introduction of what is machine learning. And again, this is a fundamental basic level of the machine learning class here. Let me see. Okay, you're still here. I just worry some people already kind of like slept. Okay. Then in lecture number 2, sorry, just a syllabus. Lecture number 2. By the way, again, you can find it here in the lecture note, in the Google Drive here, which is lecture slides. Go to lecture number 2, so you can download or directly you can see it. So here again, let me open my local document to make my life easier. Lecture number 2 is basically how to write Python code. I know many of you are experts in Python. In this case, you can skip this part, or I believe you can skip most part of the Thursday's class, because I plan to use Thursday and also this class to introduce the fundamental coding part of Python. It's worth mentioning that for the coding part of Python, it's not only for the machine learning. I believe I wrote it here. In many cases, where I wrote it here. In many cases, it's for in a general Python coding. Yeah, I better just directly introduce this via the order of my slides. So there are many coding languages. 1960s C, Fortran. After it, like Java, C++, all those things are are created, but Python is a relatively new one. If my memory was correct, it was created in around 2000, 1990s or around 2000. It's a very, very, like a late language. So Python, the best thing of Python is that it's very simple. The format is very, very simple, and it's very, very easy to start. And also very versatile, that you can use Python to do almost everything. And some applications of Python, for example, you can do the general software development. AI, of course, is our machine learning here. Website development, game, or automation, robotic, desktop, GUI, whatever. All those kind of things can be done by Python. This is the good thing. The bad thing is also because it's too versatile. So in many cases, it's very, very slow. For example, if compared with C++, Python is very, very slow, actually. There are some comparisons online. If you're interested, you can search, for example, Python versus C++ speed. And you will probably see that Python is way slower than C++. Then you may immediately ask, so we know Python is so slow. Why do we still use Python in this class instead of using, for example, C++, in this class? Two main reasons. Reason number 1 is a fundamental class. It's easy to start with Python. Reason number 2 is the most important reason, that there are already a lot of existing Python libraries or packages. If you're not familiar with Python, you may ask, what does package or library mean? Package or library means that you can directly include that library or include that package, so that you can directly use a method or an attribution to do something, instead of start from the very, very beginning, everything you start. You know what I mean? So basically, let me use a comparison. Say you wanna go from, let's say, your home to, let's say, a Walmart, which is, let's say, for example, only 1 mile from your home. So you may wanna run a bicycle there, right? So option number 1 is that you are gonna build a bicycle from the very, very beginning, from every fundamental part. Option number 2 is that you can directly borrow up an existing, already built bicycle. You just run the bicycle to Walmart. Which one would you choose? Of course, I believe most people would choose option number 2, because they're already, it's already built by a person. Why do I need to rebuild it again every time, right? Okay, so this is the meaning of the library, which is we want to use some existing tools. And there are a lot of existing libraries compared with other language, in Python, in data science. And hence Python is so popular in data science today. So this is the main reason why even if we know it's slow, we still would like to use Python. And about the Python tutorials, so this is lecture number 2 and number 3. The IDE, by the way, the name of IDE is Integrated Development Environment, is going to be PyCharm. And then this is really a tutorial for beginners that I do not require any Python experience or even any coding experience. I remember some of you, I read the application, some of you do not have coding experience. And one of you asked me, hey, is it okay for me to start this class? Absolutely. Because, you know, when we propose the class, the preparation, let's say the assumption of this class is that you do not have experience in coding or experience in machine learning, because this is really a very fundamental class. And a very good reference videos here. So most of the topics in this lecture are already covered in the video here, or you can simply just refer to my class video, my class videos uploaded to YouTube as well. So first of all, I assume like you do not know what is Python. You don't know, you have never seen this Python or something. So I will start from how to install Python. So you can just in Google just search as a Python install, let's say. Here we go. And then here, download Python, click download Python 3.12.2, which is the I don't know, maybe this is the newest one, whatever. To be honest, for this class, it doesn't matter which version. So you can just download Python, and then after downloading it, because I've already downloaded it. So here, just double click and then follow step, next, done. Installation gonna be super fast within 1 to 2 minutes maybe. So Python gonna be installed. And another thing we're gonna use here is the PyCharm. So in this class, basically we will use the Anaconda, the Jupyter, or the PyCharm to code. PyCharm is an IDE, it's more powerful, while Jupyter is simpler. But here a bad point is that you have to install the PyCharm. So what you're gonna do is just PyCharm. You search it, and then here click download. And I just realized that they're pretty evil now. Here kind of like they kind of try to lead you to download the professional version. I forgot how much, but I believe it's you need to pay the money. What you can do is just roll down. You see here, this is a community edition, which you don't have to. I would say in personal projects, this one's completely enough for most, I would say 99.99% of the user. This is more like if you're really working in like a company, you are working a commercial, let's say project or something, then you may consider, for the professional development, or if you're using it to do the web development, you may want to consider it. Well, to be honest, who's gonna use Python to do web development? But anyway, that's something else. You can just ignore it. So you're gonna download it. After downloading it, you will have this one. The reason I do not install it is because this one requires restart of the computer. So once I restart the computer, our meeting will be off, and then I will have everybody rejoin the meeting. It's pretty troublesome. So I will ignore it here, but just to let you know, the installation is extremely simple. You just click it, and then I can do it here, but it will detect an existing one. Do you want to allow this one to change? I would say yes, and then it will probably tell me existing thing. Already, do you want to continue? Here I will choose no, but I mean, for your computer, if you have never used the Python before, you click it, it will ask you to like add the path, add those kind of I forgot details, but basically add the path and ask you where you want to install it, and also will ask you something like something called the Python interpreter. Since you already installed the Python first, it will automatically detect where your Python document is, and it basically just click next, next. You know what I mean? Extremely simple, and then it will ask you to restart your computer. Restart it after it. Here we go. We can do it. Okay, so in the following, I will assume that you have already installed the Python and installed the PyCharm. By the way, the whole process is going to take you 3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, depending on your computer speed. Extremely simple. Okay, now I assume you have already have everything. Now let's start. So I will start from the very beginning here. Let me, oh, sorry, here, this one blocks. The PyCharm here. So I just click it. Now suppose I'm brand new to PyCharm. I've never used any Python language. I don't know what is that. Okay, So you're gonna have here, you're gonna click new project. And here it's gonna ask you where you're gonna put it. So I've already had something, I believe this is lecture 2. I click lecture 2. So I'm gonna create the Python project here to make my life easier. Of course, in class, because this is to be introduced in class. And then here's the Python version. So if you have already installed the Python, like I just said, like Python 3.12, it's gonna be here. So and then you just click create, and here we go. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is why so slow? So this is the Python. And then under this folder, you right click your mouse, right click, okay. Then you're gonna click new Python file. Again, here, right click your mouse and then click Python file. And then here I will show you many examples. So as a habit, I name it to be main. You can name whatever it, it doesn't really matter. So I call it a name main. There we go. So our first example for any coding language, I believe, is so-called hello world, right? So I'm gonna print the hello world. Hello world. Okay. Then you can just, oh, sorry about this. I wish I have double screen, but I don't have double screen here. Let me put it right here. So you can just click this one to run, or you can use a shortcut, which is Shift plus F10. I'm using my OS as Windows. So I just press, Shift F10, or just click it. This time let me click it. Okay, you can see, okay, oh, sorry, I'll put this one, hello world. So here it is, hello world. Or you can use the double quotation instead of single quotation here. You can see, so you can see the ID already, replace both of them to be double, okay? And you run it again, Shift F10, hello world, the same thing, no difference. But be careful that the reason Python allows you to use double or simple quotation is in some cases, you may have a simple quotation inside. If I remember correctly, I believe I have something here, let me see. Okay, I'm learning Python. Let me make it smaller so that you can see it more clear. So suppose here I have, let's say, print. I'm learning Python. You can already see that something is wrong here, right? So you can see this red things. This is the ID. It tells you, hey, something's wrong. If I run it, of course, it will be an error. Why is the error? Because you have a single quotation here and also in the beginning. So Python doesn't understand what you try to do. In Python's eyes, it will be you want to print I, and then you will have all those things, and then another single like a quotation here. Once a single pair, then Python get very confused, and hence you need to use a double here. I'm learning Python, and this way will be oops. That's something I hate ID. And this way, it's going to be correct. I am learning Python. Let me run it. Shift F10. So you can see I am learning Python. And similarly, I have some examples here. Suppose I write like this way, course machine learning. In this way, it will also be wrong. Let me run here. Course, let's say introduction to ML. And this is going to also be wrong. Why? Similar reason, isn't it? Double quotation. Python got very confused. So what do you really mean? So what I actually want to do is like this way. Single quotation here, introduced to machine learning, and also a single quotation here. So basic, no. Okay, so basically I wanna, ID is a bit too smart. Okay, so basically I wanna say a course which is named Introduction to Machine Learning. Here we go. And you can see this time it's correct. So basically you need to smartly use the single and the double quotation to print. But basically the function here is print. So this is the point. And after it, another thing is the input. Input given the name, which is the input. So we can write like this way. Let's say input. what is your name? That's it. And as a trick, you may want to add a blank here. Why? Because otherwise you will see when you run it, the console here will be something just next to it. Sometimes we want to have a space. So I will always suggest to you, if you run the input, add at least a space here. And I run it, Shift F10, what's your name? So I could put my name there, my name is Yiwen Xu, and then, okay, that's it. Or you want to print it, you can just say print. What's your name? So what does it do here is it will first read your name. Let's say my name is Yiwen Xu, and then it will print this name. So, or you can do like this way. You let variable a equal to this one, and then you print a. So exactly the same thing. So here a, read your name here, and then print a. So let's do it to the same thing. Again, what's your name? A, prepare my name wrongly. And then here we go. So this is a print and input function, which are very, very basic. After it, let's introduce something which is the numerical variables. So we can have, for example, a equal to 1. Or we can have b equal to, let's say, here, what did I write here? 2 times 1.1. 2 times 1.1. And then I can print a and b. So you can see a is 1, b is 2.2, because 2 times 1.1, of course, 2.2, right? Or you can do like this way, say, suppose a equal to 1, right? I make it to be a equals a plus 1. So you make it to be a equal to a plus 1. Okay, 1 plus 1 equal, let's make it a plus 3. Make my life, because otherwise 2 and 2, confusing. A plus 3 is equal to 4, so I do have a 4 here. That's it. By the way, specifically for the case a plus 1, this is a Python's feature. You don't have to write a equal to a plus 1. It's kind of pretty long. You can simply write like this, plus equal equal 1. So this is the same as a equal to a plus 1. You can simply just run it, and then you will see 1 plus 1 equal to 2. Or you say a equal to a plus equal to 4, then it's going to be a 5. You can see it's a 5 here. Okay, and then after this one, c equal to 2 times 3. So this means exponential. So this is going to be 2 to the power of 3, which is, let me print c here, which is going to be 8. It's not like in this way. I know in most of the coding language, it's this one. But in Python, unfortunately, it's time. So this is exponential. And after it is, let me see here. D equal to 8 divided by 3. Print D. Similar, 8 divided by 3 equal to what? 1.666. So this is D. And then I have another thing that's here. A divided by 3. What is that? What does this mean? This is somewhat the integer division. So integer division is something we call floor function, meaning that, so we know that a divided by 3 is 2.666, but I will make us to get the integer, which is the closest integer, equal or less than or equal to this number. So the closest integer less than or equal to 2.66 is what? Is 3. Be careful, this is a floor function, not a ceiling function. Ceiling function is going to push it to the integer up, but this one will push it to the integer down here. And then f, oops, sorry. The next one is f equals to 8 percentage of 3. This percentile operator is actually the modulo operator. It calculates the remainder. So this is 8 divided by 3 equal to 2. The remainder is 2. So it should be 2. Let me make a 5 here. So 8 divided by 5 equal to what? Equal to 1, with the remainder equal to 3. So then you run it, it's going to be 3. So these are basically the numerical variables. I believe it's pretty straightforward and simple. And of course, you can do the calculation of different things. As I wrote here, I try to keep consistent with my slides, but basically they're the same thing. Suppose I have x equal to 2, y equal to 3. By the way, you can write in this way as well. But if you're lazy, you don't have to write, write this column or whatever. It's just, semicolon. It's just very simple. You can just write, press enter, y equal to 3, and then z equal to x times y. Then you can just print x, y, and z. Shift F10, and then 2, 3, 6. So x equal to 2, y equal to 3, z equal to 2 times 2, which is 6. Very, very simple things. And similar thing as we just mentioned, you can also do, let's say, z plus equal to 6, then that means z equal to z plus 6. So 2 plus, let's say make it 10 be 10. So 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 10 is 16. So z should be equal to 16. Okay, so z is 60. You can see all this. These are very, very, very simple examples. And by the way, since the video is recorded, so just in case if some parts I'm too fast or something, you can just go to the YouTube to check it. After, if you have any questions, please just let me know it. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to introduce is a string variable. A string variable is a little bit complicated, but basically the same thing. String variable by name, it's a string. So for example, I can define a variable called the name. The name of the variable is name. Name equal to, let's say, my name, Yunju. And I can just print name. Okay. So, here, okay. So I will print name, just run it. You can see Yunju. And I can use this print together with the input as we just did, as I did before, like an A. I'll make the name equal to, instead of give this, I will make an input function. Input, what is your name? Again, do not forget this one. It's just a trick. You don't have to, but it will make your work, better. And then this means I will first ask you what is the name, and then store the answer to the variable name. Then I print this variable name. So we can do it. Let's say this time, let me use the name Harry Potter. Then it will print the name Harry Potter. So by the way, later we will introduce in this lecture, we can use the f function, make my life easier. So I can make it to be like this way. My name is name. So this will, add some description instead of just write a Harry Potter. What does it mean? So let's say this. What is your name? Ask Harry Potter, and then it will tells me my name's Harry Potter. But anyway, here we use the F function. I mean the F word, F function, not F word here. By the way, be careful because I saw many Python tutorial. They say the F word. It's gonna be very confusing. Anyway, I call it F. As a function or f parameter, something here. Okay, and then we can do something similar, which is to use this an add operator to connect two string variables. So let's say I will have the first name equal to, let's say, input. Oops, what is your first name? And then last name input. What is your last name? Okay, now I have first two variables, two string variables, first name and the last name. And then I want to make one variable called full name, make the combination of course, the first name in the beginning and the last name. So what I'm going to do is this first name plus last name. And then I can simply just print full name. And then what's going to happen in this? It will ask you, hey, what's your first name? Harry. What's your last name? Oh, you see the point here? I forgot to add a space. And now you know why I want to ask you to add a space. You may say, hey, it doesn't matter. I can add a space here, right? Okay, be careful. You add a space here. This space, this blank, this will be considered as an input of your last name as well. So first of all, let me use the formal method, which is Potter. So you will see the full name, Harry Potter. Okay, now let me further do it this way. Let me run exactly the same code again, but this time I will add a lot of spaces. What's your last first name? Harry. What's your last name? Okay, I put a lot of spaces. Potter. You see what happens here? So be very, very careful. Don't think that, oh, I just put space here, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. So that's the thing. And later we will see how to use a function to filter all these blanks. Okay, so here is the operator add. So we can use this way. And then also what can we do is use the multiplication to repeat it. So what I'm going to do is this. What I'm gonna do is this. Okay, let me still follow my examples here. My examples here is I bring a string variable called AB. Be careful, it's case sensitive. So this AB versus this AB are very different. And now I can make repeat, the string repeat equal to string times 2. So what's gonna happen if I print it? String repeat. Here, it's gonna be here. AB, AB. In other words, it's just AB repeats 2 times. Of course, you can say, I'll repeat 5 times, let's say. Okay, so I'll repeat 5 times, AB, 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 5 ABs, whatever. So this is the string variable. And the next one I want to introduce is the Boolean variable. So Boolean means true or false. Yes or I should say true or false, make it more formal. I mean, it doesn't matter because basically it's 0, 1. You know, you can use true or false or yes or no or 0 or 1 or 0, whatever you want. So for the Boolean variable for Python, it has a special kind of like a term called true. So I can say is student equals to true. Is student means I create a variable to judge whether something, let's say later we will introduce, let's say we build a class and I'm gonna ask whether an object is a student or not. So I can write is student equal to true, define it to be a Boolean variable. And further, is grad student, let's say, equal to false. So this means no, the person is a student, but not a grad student. Be careful here, true or false, you must write in the capital TRUE and the capital FALC. You cannot make it in this way. This is all wrong. So Python is really strictly case sensitive. Be very, very careful about this. So I can write. First of all, let me use the correct method. So let's see what's gonna happen. Print is student is grad student, and then run it. Okay, true false. Okay, now let me make this f to be the small f. Let's see what's gonna happen. Error. Why? Because Python think this is a variable called FALSC. You know what I mean? It doesn't consider it as a special Boolean variable, a Boolean statement, which is false, but it's gonna consider it as a variable false. And I say, hey, where's the false? You've never defined the false, and hence name error, false is not defined. So be very careful of here. Boolean variables must be the capital one. The first letter is capital. And after it, we're going to introducing, because we've already introduced the string variables here, numerical variables, string variables, and the Boolean variables. Numerical variable and the Boolean variables are very, very straightforward because numerical is just, I mean, it's numerical. I mean, everything is right here. You can clearly see, you know, these are the basic numerical operations. And the Boolean variable only 2 things, true, false. As long as you remember how to spell them and with the first letter capital, you know, everybody knows it. But string variable has a lot of interesting or important operations that I would like to introduce here. The very, very first thing is the index here. So let me follow here, string equal to I am learning Python. Okay, so I can use this to get the first, sorry, string 1 equal to string. So this means the very first, first, let's say letter from this string. Be careful, the indices here is 0. So Python here is very, very different. Well, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but personally, to be honest, I don't like it. However, it's defined in Python. So the very first letter or the very first element, later when we say array or say list, is the index is 0 instead of 1. Suppose the length of this one is n. The very last one, the index is n minus 1 instead of n. Be very, very careful here. So I can print str1 string 1, and you will see this gonna show you I. See it? And then if you string 1, this means what? This means blank here. So I run it, you will see a blank. Or if you want, I put kind of like a number, a pound here, then you will see it will be a pound. See it? It's a pound. So, and also let me make my life easier. Let me say I just make it to be IM. So how many, what is the length of this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. The length of the 4, right? Okay. You put string 4, it will show you error. Why? Because the total length is 4. Why is an error? Again, pay attention. For Python, the first index is 0, and the last index is the length minus 1. In other words, my maximum length is only 3. Sorry, my maximum index is only 3 because my total length is 4. 4 minus 1 equal to 3. And hence, this is the thing. If I put it, it will be IM. So this is the thing. Okay, let's still go back to the previous example, which is I am learning Python here. Okay, so we have seen, for example, string 1 is this one. Let me follow my slides here. String 2 equals to string index 2. Okay, so index 2 would be which number? 0, 1, 2. And hence string index 2 should be the letter A. We can see it's an A here, and the first one is an I. So these are the basic things of the indices. And what if in some cases I want to have a range? Let's say, suppose I write in this way. Let's say, let me write in this way, string 3 equal to string, let's say 0 to 7. What does that mean? That means I'm gonna take from the very zeroth element till the 7th element. So let's count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So it will show this IMLE. So let's print string 3. And then you will see IMLE, I'm Lee, whatever. So this is the thing. This means from the zeroth to the 7th. Or sometimes, if we want to count from the backward instead from the forward, we can say it like this way. That means the very last one, which means n. So you will see print string 4, it's going to be n. So what if I write from -2? It will be O. Oh, so with a negative, that means I count from the backward instead of from the forward. So this is another thing. And also about the column, sometimes here, let me use string 5. String 5 equal to string column. Sorry, delete this one. Column, not semicolon, and I print string 5. That means everything. Everything in the string. Of course, you can write something like this way. Let's say column 7. So again, column is everything. Everything plus the 7. That means what? Everything till the 7th element. Is it correct? Not correct. The 8th element. Again, be careful. This 7 is actually the 8th because we count from 0. So let's say everything from here. 1, 2, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, wait. I confused myself. 0. Oh, okay. Let me do this. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's gonna be anyway, why the result is different? There we go. But why is it's different? Let me see. Let me see the meaning. Oh, my fault. Sorry about it. Sorry about it. I confused I confused myself. So this 7 actually means not the 8th, but the 6th. My fault, sorry, because the first one, the first one is the what? The let me see, the zeros. And as we mentioned here, string 3, which is here, 0 to the 7th. And this 7th means an index range A to B means from index A to index B minus 1. In other words, here, if I wrote, so this and this are equivalent because, again, without a 0, it also means from the very beginning, everything. But this and this are different because this is from the first, or actually, first means the blank. Again, be careful. The first element is 0, not the first. So this means from the zeros to the 7 minus 1, which is the 6, and hence it is the learning LE here. And then finally, string 7 equal to str. So what does this mean? Similarly, means from index 3 to all, right? Again, be careful, 0, 1, 2, 3. So it will start from this M till the end of everything. And here, let me print it. Numbers 7, it will be M learning Python. Yeah, here we go. Any questions here regarding the indices of a string variable? In the beginning, if you have never used the Python before, especially if you are very familiar with, let's say, C++, Java, those kind of language, you might feel Python is both so easy and so weird. Weird because the easy is simple because the language is really, especially later if you run you write like a if statement or loop statement, for statement, those kind of things. That's really straightforward. The weird thing is, at least my personal opinion at that time, I remember I just learned Python. I always get confused with this because really, I mean, like string 2, I was always thinking about this means 2. No, but the truth is this is a 2. It's not, because I start from 0. So that's the thing. That's something very confusing. And also this one the same. This means that, let's say, let me tell you, if I write it this way, it's super easy to make a mistake because that's really very different from many other languages. So this is the thing. But again, be careful that if I have index range A colon B, that means from index A to index B minus 1 instead of B. So this is the main thing. After it, as we mentioned, is the length. So for example, I have a string equal to this one. I can simply print the length. Let's say L equal to the length. Length is a function of string. So if I print L, that means I'm gonna ask Python, hey Python, how long is my string variable string? So it is totally 20, and you can simply count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's 20. So this is just the length. Of course, you don't have to write in this way. You can simply just write in this way, print the length of it. It doesn't matter. And you will see the result is the same, still 20. And the next one I'm going to introduce is a find method. The find method is going to find the index of the first occurrence of the given characters C. Be careful, here's characters C. It doesn't have to be one character. It can be many different things. So for example, let me find the one. Let's say N. I have many N's, right? So I can print from string dot find, let's say find N. Be careful, you need to write quotation N instead of this N. Why? Because if you write like this N, Python will consider N as a variable, and then it will show you error because you've never defined this variable. Name N is not defined. But if I put quotation N, it knows, oh, okay, you're asking me for the character or element N. So let's find it. It shows you 9. What does it mean? So first of all, we can see N appears 3 times. N here, N here, N here. Find means find the first occurrence of the given characters C. Here's N. So the first one, what is the index? Again, start from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see it? The first N, the index is 9. So it tells me 9. That's the thing. And here in my example, I want to show what does characters mean instead of one character. So I want what I write pyt py python. Okay, so I'm gonna find string pyt, and you can see first of all this is capital P, so this one doesn't satisfy, but this pyt satisfies. And then if I run it shows you 7. What does that mean? That means the first time this pattern or this characters satisfy pyt is here. Although I have another pyt here, it doesn't count because it counts only the first one. And you can simply see the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see it? Start at 7, and hence it tells you 7. So this is the thing. In the real application, I can use this. Let's say the start pattern equal to, let's say, string dot find say pyt, and then I can operate this start pattern to do some whatever operations. So this is in the real applications, but here just to show you the function of this dot find method. By the way, I have another example. For example, find x. Find x. The truth is there's no x here. So find x. If I cannot find it, this dot find method will shows -1. So the return is -1. This means characters not found. So this is the thing. And later we'll find another, we'll see another function, another thing, which is index. And you will see they're actually very different, but it will be in the list. We'll introduce list, I believe, right here. Very soon we'll introduce the meaning of the list. Any questions here regarding the length or find or all those kind of things? No? Okay. The next one that I want to introduce is these basic things, how to methods, how to operate a string variable. So the very first thing is upper, the next thing is lower. So by the name, it will convert all those kind of letters to be upper cases or lower cases. Let me use an example here. Course equal to machine learning. Okay, and I will create two variables, course upper equal to course dot upper method, and then course lower equal to course sorry, dot lower method, and then print course lower and the course upper. So I'm writing this one on purpose, to make it to be, kind of cross of the upper and lower cases. But if I print it here, you can see what happened. Oh no. Sorry, I just got a new keyboard. Not familiar with the keyboard at all. Okay, so you will see. So this is the let me see. I better printing this way. So the first one is the lower cases. Let me change the order as well. Make everything lower, and you can see the whole thing lower. And the second one, the whole thing is upper. Machine learning. The next one, I'm going to introduce the title. So title means just a title, which means for each word, the first letter will be captured, will be capital, and all others are lower cases. And then let's run it. You see it? Machine learning. So even if this M is lowercase and this CH, these are upper cases, but I still make it to be title. So this is the meaning of title. And the next one we will see is something method to tell me, is it upper, is it lower, or is it a title? So the meaning of is upper means to check if all the characters in the string are upper cases. Be careful, here's all. And the is lower means all are lower cases. Is title means whether all are title. In other words, whether each word starts with uppercase and then after it are all lower cases. So we can do like this way. So now we've already known that lower upper title to make it to lower upper and title, right? So now first of all, I can check. Let's say I just use the course. Print course dot is lower. This is to ask you, hey, whether the course is lower. Clearly the answer is no. Why? Because you can see it's not all lower. False. Similarly, I can ask, sorry, what did I print? I can ask whether the course is upper. And again, the answer is no. How to make it upper and to make everything, or there's a simple way, which is, I'm cheating. I just use, remember, I just defined the course upper. This one we know it should be upper. So the answer here should be true. Otherwise, something's wrong. Great. Let me see what happened. Oh, cos upper dot, sorry, or upper dot upper. Yes, so cos upper is the name of the variable dot upper. The dot is upper, and this is to ask whether it is upper. It's true. Because of course, because here we make it to be upper. Or let's make it like this way. So now I can run cos variable dot is lower. Now should be true. True, it's lower. So it's gonna be like this way. And then also the thing is title. So if I make it to be okay, suppose it's like this way, I'm gonna ask course is title. Clearly the answer is no. Why? Because this one is not upper. So is title? No, false. If we make this one to be L is title, yes, it's title. Or if I make this one to be N, again, is title, false. The answer should be false. See it? So these are the basic things about upper, lower, title, is up, is lower, is title methods. Any questions? I believe these are very, very simple, super basic things, very easy to be understood. Okay, and the next one is something very, very important if you like do some writing a code for this kind of forget about website because I'm not gonna use Python, but let's say if I want to write some code to get some field or something and to get some important useful information from an input, which is called a split method. And the split method is this. I can directly ask Python to split a given let's say string variable into and the output gonna be, so an input will be a string variable, the output will be a list in and each element in the list gonna be the string. Currently I have not formally introduced the list yet, but list is nothing but a collection of all those kind of, here are all those kind of strings. It doesn't have to be strings, it can be even numbers, make it more like an array, but all this will be formally introduced later in the lecture. But here, let me first show you some examples here. So I have strings, string one equal to, let's say, I like Python. By the way, again, I just want to mention here, it doesn't matter, use double or single quotation, it really doesn't matter. And then I'm going to do this, string one split. I define a new variable called string one split and make it to be string one dot split. And again, you can see self, you can, just ignore it. Here is the separator and the maximum split. Okay, so we basically here only introduce this one. The maximum split is something else that I'm not gonna, introduce here. And then I'm gonna do what? So my target, the object is string one, and the method is called split. What I'm gonna do is that I will split, I put a blank here. So that means, okay, I will split this string by the blanks. In other words, as long as I see a blank, it will be split. I see a blank and it will be split. And then let's print it. What you're gonna see is this. You see it? First element, like the second element, Python, the third element. In other words, as long as I see a space, it will be split. question. If I like this, what's gonna happen? You see it? So why I have all those things? Because simple, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 spaces here and count how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In other words, once I see a space here, I'm gonna kind of like fill it. And hence I have the second one. Also, I see a space, I keep it. The third one, also I see a space, I keep it until the very last one. So because the first one I see the what, this one is not counted, and hence I actually have 8 spaces, while here I only have 7 space elements here. So this is the thing of the split. Of course, I don't have to split it by the space. Although space, split by space, or sometimes by comma, this is the most common things. Later we do the CSV data, and you can see. Let's say suppose my first row have many features. Let's say the first column, for example, okay, the first column let's say the name, let's say Harry. The second one is that, for example, age, 12-year-old. The third one, let's say schools. What's the name of Harry Potter school? I forgot. Let's say XYZ. So that I can use this split, and then let me use the separator to be column. Sorry, to be comma. And hence, as I run it, you know what I mean? I immediately get this. And then later, if you learn the list, I can directly get this. Let's say string 1 split element 0. I can print this one. Okay, and you can see this is Harry. You know what I mean? By this way, I can directly get it. So in some very simple applications, I even don't need to write, a class or something. I just simply make it. So this ability is actually, if you can use it well, it can save you a lot of time when you're writing code. So this is a function of split. And the next one is strip. So strip is something similar to split, but the difference is that it's gonna remove all the given characters, characters in the beginning and in the end of the string. So for example, here again, let's use I like Python, but I will put a lot of spaces. I like Python, and then put 3 spaces in the middle. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I will print this one method is dot strip. I use parentheses. Sorry, I use a space here, and then you see what's gonna happen. I like Python. See it? So it detects in the beginning and in the end of the whole string variable. As long as I see space, all of them will be detected. But in the middle, it doesn't matter. So that in the middle, even if I have 3 spaces here, it still keeps 3 spaces, while the beginning and the end are all done. You see? And what can be used here, usually in some input, because I don't know whether you see or not, in many cases, a customer or a user put input, like for name something, someone would have a space, or will have a habit to add some space in the beginning or sometimes in the end. Say, suppose I ask you, hey, what is the passcode? Your real passcode should be 1, 2, 3, but sometimes you input like this one, you know what I mean? So that in using this way, I can detect all those kind of spaces and remove all of them and just keep the most important thing, the key elements in the middle. So this is the meaning of the strip. And of course, you don't have to really use, the space. You can use something else. Let's say comma, comma, comma. I'll use the commas. I mean, basically the same thing, no difference. But pay attention that here, the character here is also going to be comma instead of space, and then here you see all filtered. But what if I insist to use space? Then nothing going to be filtered. Everything going to be kept because my interested character here is the space instead of comma. So here we go. And another super interesting thing is that you don't have to have only one element here, and that's the reason why characters see. So for example, I have comma, space, whatever, comma, space, and I make it like this way, so you can make a comma space. You can see. So this tells me that as long as I see comma or space, just remove them. So here, it removes all the commas space. So these are stripped method and also the split method are very, very powerful things. By the way, I believe I'd better, mention a little bit what does method mean. So method means it is something for an object. So let's say here, string is my variable, right? So under string, I can say dot, for example, like let's say upper, which is to make everything to be upper, or let's say something I just mentioned, dot split or something. This is something, a method directed towards my variable string. Another thing is called a function. So as we've already introduced, a function, for example, is where's the find? Sorry, where's the length? Not find. The length is here. So string, I can write the length of string. So this is something I'm making on the string. However, to be honest, in many, many cases, in terms of a variable, the method, and also a function, sometimes well, very, very close are confusing. However, in some higher level coding things, especially when you run a project, or let's say it's not a variable, it's something else, then it will be really different because some objects they have the method, but you cannot apply the function on it. It's gonna be very different things. What's the trick to memorize it? I don't think there's any trick to memorize it as long as you use it more and more you're gonna memorize it. It's just like 1 + 1 = 2. Nobody's gonna specifically memorize it. Just you see it too many times, then you know it. Okay, so after the split strip, let's do an exercise together here. So here I would ask you user to input a name. The name order gonna be first and last name, and then save the first name to create a new variable, which we call first underline name. This one to save the first name, and another variable last underline name to save the last name, and then print them. And the names needs to be titled. And be careful that a user may make some mistakes or some habit, not good habit. Let's say some spaces, or sometimes the format could be wrong, like make it like to be this way. Then how to make it? Okay, so basically we need to input a full name first, right? So we have the full name equal to input your full name first, last, and oh, I forgot this one. Oh, sorry. So here I will input this one, and then I need to get the first name and the last name. But the problem is, remember, a user could make something like this way. How to do it? Here you will need what? You will need the strip function, right? User full name, let's say correct. What I write here? No space. It don't matter. Here I use let's say no space. And then full name dot what strip, right? And we just mentioned I will filter all these kind of spaces in the beginning and in the end. So let me first show you the result. Full name, no space. Okay, so let's run it. So I suppose I have a lot of spaces. Let's say Harry Potter. So it's what's gonna show you is that here and here there will be no space, and then it will print Harry Potter. But in the middle, yes, there will still be spaces. Okay, then how to remove the space in the middle? Assuming there's only one space. How to remove spaces if there are a lot? Actually, there are several methods. Method number one is you can simply just use the what? You can simply use a split first. After split, use a strip. So in this case, it will be kind of for each split in each like character in the list, it will do make it. But since here I have not formally introduced the list, so I will keep this one here. Let's assume that the input there will be only one space between the first and last name. So now we have already removed the spaces in the very beginning and the end. So what shall we do? What we need to do is to get a first and last name, right? So I have my first name equal to what? Full name, no space here, dot split. Put a space. So in other words, this was split. This was split to to the what by the space here. And of course, before doing this, I can first print this one, and you will see the result. Wait, Harry Potter. So first of all, it will be filtered. Second, it will be Harry and Potter. And for the first name, what do we need? We just need the first element, right? So I will put a 0 here. And here you can see print first name. This one will show only Harry. So, oh, sorry, every time into Harry Potter. So it will be Harry. However, remember, as we mentioned, the person may input a name, in the wrong format of the lower and upper cases. So here we still have not filtered them. Let's say, suppose, wait, what happened? Say it can be like this, or Harry Potter. It can be like this one. So still have not done it. So how to eliminate these things? I'm gonna use the title function, right? Dot title. So in this case, yes, it will give me the correct one. Even if I put it like this way, it will fix it automatically. And similar thing, the last name is gonna be the same, but it's not gonna be the zeroth element, but be the first element. Last name. Then I can simply just print the first name and last names. Oh, sorry. By the way, here, be very careful. Python's really, really upper and lower case very sensitive. So you can make this one, or you make you can make everything here. Oh my God, really hate this keyboard. You can make it like this way. It doesn't matter which one you change. So here, to be lazy, I'm gonna write it this way, although it's not a good habit. Okay, now let's make it Harry Potter. Okay, then we can see it correctly gets the first name Harry, last name Potter. Okay, so this is an exercise here. Let's see more things. Here are some conversions between string and number. In some cases, our input variable can be, or our defined variable can be a kind of like a string, but it's kind of like in the type of a string, but actually we want to use it as a number, especially for example, a float or an integer. What should we do? So for example, here, let's run the code here. Birth year equals to, let's say, 2000. Age equal to, let's say, 2020. Let me use this year, 2024, minus birth year. Okay, what's gonna happen? Let's say print age. Well, human will understand this is 2024 minus 2000, then it should be 24. But chooses Python will show an error. Why? Because in Python's eyes, this is a string. It's not 2000 a number, and this is a number. While number and string, you cannot directly operate like this way, and hence this is something wrong. Then how to, in other words, what we need to do is to convert this one to a number, to be a number, so that Python can recognize a number minus a number, and then we calculate. So here you can use int. The function int means to convert string to be a number, and I better directly print here. So first I print int birth year, and then second I'm gonna print age, and you're gonna see here. So for what is wrong? Let me see. Here we go. Birth year spelled wrongly. Okay, so you can see make this this string to int, and the Python knows this a number int, number integer 2000, and this is 24. It's just 24. Be very, very careful that int, something later you will see, it is kind of something push it towards to 0. And here you will see an example. And by the way, let me finish this part first. Another possibility is instead of using int, I use the float. So what's the difference? Difference that you're gonna keep the decimals here. You're gonna see as 2000.0, and hence this one minus this one is 224.0. So these are basically two functions, int and float, to convert a string to be a number. Of course, it must be convertible, okay? Otherwise, let's say if I make it like this way, then something gonna be really wrong. See, it shows you error. Why? Because could not convert string to float like this way, because these are alphabets that I cannot recognize. Assuming it's convertible, then you're gonna make it to this way. And the next thing I want to introduce a little bit about string. So here, string equal to int is 4.9, and another one is so y equal to int negative 4.9. Guess what's gonna happen? Okay, 4.9 makes it to be 4, no problem. But negative 4.9 make 4.9. Negative 4.9 make it to be negative 4. Oh, why not negative 5? Because int function always push you towards 0. Okay, I believe I wrote something here. Yeah, it always push it always push it to an integer towards 0. And this is the meaning of int. Sometimes later encoding something to convert a string something to be a number to be an integer. Sometimes, especially when we see the negative number, this needs to be very, very careful. Otherwise, something could be wrong. And finally, we can use the function type to know the type of a function. Say, suppose I have, let's say, a equal to 4.9, and then b equal, let's say x equal to this one, and the c, y, let me just use it, equal to, let's say, c, and then I print type a, type x, and type y. And then this will show me the types. So float, the first one, a, is float. The second one is integer. The third one is string. By the way, can I write it in this way? Yes, I can, because this means a character or alphabet a. This a is completely different from this a, which is a variable a. Okay, so I run it, nothing gonna be changed. It's gonna be the same. So this is the conversion here. And I believe, let me see here. Yeah, I believe the final thing that I want to introduce in today's lecture is this fprint function. I've already used it before, but let's see a more clear example here. Suppose I have name equal to input, let's say input your name, and then let's say age equal to input input your age. Okay, now I want to say something which is print my name is something. Print my name is, remember the plus, which is to connect to strings, name plus plus, and be careful here, I need another space. And I am another space plus age plus another space years old. Oh my goodness. Okay, so print it. Okay, then let's see, and then input your name. So my name is Yiwen, and then put your age. So let's say how old I am. Here show 20. Okay, I wish I was 20. So it will show my name's Yiwen, and I'm 20 years old. Okay, this is absolutely correct. But don't you feel it's kind of like very troublesome, because when you calculate the space and then you plus and calculate space. That's why we can use the fprint function. So I just put a parameter f here, and I can just type normally as what I typed before. So instead of this, I can let me just write it here. Instead of this, I can make it this way. Make an F here parameter so that Python knows this is an F print. My name is space, and then I'm gonna write this the bracket parentheses. So this one will shows me I'm gonna put a variable called name. So this name is this name. My name is this, and I am similar age years old. And you will see these two things will be completely the same. Input your name, let's say at this time, let's play Harry Potter. Input your age, let's say 13. So you can see these two things are equivalent. But clearly the F print or the print with an F function, F parameter would be much easier. So this is up to you. Everything I want to introduce today. By the way, so in the syllabus, you can see that the hours are 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. To be honest, I was thinking this is a bit too long, like 2 hour, 30 minutes. So what I'm thinking is, let me show my videos here. What I'm thinking is that we can either, let's say, put a 30 minute, 15 minutes, so let's say break in the middle, or I just finish at about 7. I personally would prefer, excuse me, prefer the second way. It's gonna make it more consistent because it's it's gonna be an online class. I don't want to you guys just wait there. So currently I'm thinking to just introduce probably about 2 hours, and then we just stop at about my time zone. It's gonna be approximately 7, or the CDT time gonna be 8 instead of 8:30. Let me know your thoughts if you have any questions or any suggestions here. Just let me know. But again, here we're in this step, basic Python coding, and I will try to finish most part of the Python coding on Thursday. And that's all about today's class. Thank you very much. Oh, here's a chat. Sorry about it. Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you, Cole. I love it because really I don't want to just stay for about 15 minutes or something. 15 minutes not good for me to eat because here my time zone happens to be around 5 to 7. So thank you so much. If you have any thoughts or suggestions or ideas, something, just email me. I use my email. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Bye bye.